Sorry, it's been a while since I've made a video. I've been pretty busy on this side. I've just finished my exams. Biology 210, which is vertebrate biology, was so much fun. There was a huge amount of fossil content in the course. Probably a third of the course was actually just fossils, and there was a lot of hand-on specimen dissections. So I learned so much. It was good seeing actually how the muscles attached to the bones, and yeah, it was just a really interesting course. I then went out for a fossil hunt with a crew from GSNZ, one of the main TV broadcasters here in New Zealand, and Jendi Harper organized it. She was amazing. She made me look really smooth by editing all my mistakes out of the final video. But we went out at one of my favorite beaches and ended up finding a really cool fossil, nice whale vertebra. It was really weird not doing the filming, having someone else do the filming, but yeah, I really enjoyed the experience. You can go check out the full 5-minute clip on the GSNZ 7 Sharp website. If you're overseas, I don't think it will work, but it's on my Patreon channel as well. And then a few months ago, I had submitted an abstract for the GSNZ conference, the Geographic Society of New Zealand conference, about my turtle skull, and that got accepted. So yeah, it was very exciting but also very nerve-wracking. So I prepared a small talk, but before I could prepare the small talk, I had to do a bit more prep on that skull because I needed to see the palate of that turtle skull. So I did that, and I thought I could see what I needed to see. So I packed my bags and did the road trip down south. It's about a 5-hour trip down to Dunedin. The first night I stayed over in Timaru. Timaru is where I had an awesome fossil dig with Joseph, a young fossil hunter from the area. We spent a few hours on the beach there digging up some fossils.
Yeah, it is. How do you know that?
I didn't know the name. I just
Trilobites. You know trilobites?
Yeah.
That's about 400 million years old, that one.
400 million.
The oldest one by far.
I went back to the same beach, and just behind the beach there's actually a penguin colony. So I went there at sunset, which was about 9 p.m, and managed to see some penguins there as they returned home. They swim up to 50 kilometers away from this beach to find food, and then they come back to feed their partner or take turns looking after the eggs. Here's my first fossil hunting stop of the trip. This is a Cretaceous area, and there's been a really nice plesiosaur actually found here, which is now in the Dunedin Museum. The only thing I saw, the only fossil I saw was this bivalve. I left it there. You can't collect from here. This is a reserve, so you can just look, take photos.
Have a look at that. There's this thick coal seam underneath the sandstone. Never seen anything like it. That's really cool. And then even in the sandstone you can see there's thin layers of coal in there as well. So you've got coal, so that means it was terrestrial, land, marshes. Then you've got sand and some more coal seams and sand. Then that, some little quartz pebbles, maybe like a beach. That's really cool. Don't see any fossils. Not yet anyway.
One of the cool things I learned in geology classes last year and this year is the principle of superposition, which is a fancy way of saying that deeper rocks are older than shallower rocks, which makes sense if you think about it. Coal is formed from compressed plant material, and you had to have a lot of plant material for coal to form. So that means that that coal seam was formed when this area was above the ocean. So there was dry land around. The oceans then moved in, and we see that in the sandstone. The sandstone also tells us that it was near shore, so it wasn't very deep, because you find siltstone in the deeper waters in the basins. So this tells us, with those little bits of large quartz in there, that this was quite close to the shore.
Yeah, I finally found one of these little crab fossils. So tiny. Look at that. Beautiful little crab. Here's a claw, some legs. This is the bottom, and that's the top. Wonder what that is. Is that a piece of shell? Oh yeah. A little fossil or sub-fossil shell. It's pretty cool. There's another one. I've picked this one up already, so I could see the claws, but it was lying like that. When I turned it over, I could see those claws. Have a look there. Tiny, tiny little claws. That's a beautiful one. I do like these tiny crabs. There's all sorts on this beach. There's volcanic rocks, there's these little sub-fossil crabs and shells. It's really fun just being out here, finding something different. This one would have been quite a bit bigger. That's a leg or a piece of a crab claw sticking out there. It gives me hope that there's going to be some larger fossil crabs around here. Maybe some shark teeth. Keen to find those. There's another beautiful small one in amongst all the shells. You just see the claws sticking out there. Oh, that's a beautiful one. There's the top of it. Look at that. They're so cool, these tiny ones. This one might be another shell. Yeah, that's a fragment of shell. I'll leave that one. So I've already got one of those. Let's see what else we can find over here. I think this is basalt. It's a huge piece of basalt. I've been looking for that bigger crab, and I think I finally found one. Have a look down here. I think that could be a bigger one over here. Have a look at that. There's definitely something sticking out over there. Oh yeah, that's a crab. Look at that. That's a decent size. There we go. You can definitely see the shell sticking out over there, and it's in beautiful shape. It's by far the biggest one I've ever found yet. That's so cool. That might be another one down here. I think that's a claw sticking out a bit of the shell. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a complete one or just smushed up, but yeah, there's bits of crab in there. It definitely looks like a claw or something. Really nice crab claw, metacarcinus crab claw there. Another beautiful little crab. Look at that. You can just see the claw sticking out the front here. There's a claw and there's a claw. So beautiful. I really like finding these tiny ones. There's a bit of a bigger crab down here. There it is. Beautiful little one. Well, big for this area. Looks like a pie crust crab.
The next day I drove out to the Royal Albatross Centre, which is a breeding site for the northern albatross. A lot of work is done to keep the predators under control, the introduced ones like stoats, ferrets and weasels, and also rats. There's a few other species of birds like this red-billed gull that also nest over there, and they are so noisy. We went on the albatross tour, and you can see here the albatross actually nesting.
Do some beak clacking at her and make a bit of a fuss. Because like I said, they don't like us, but they tolerate us a wee bit. So this is because, as of most, you can see her moving around there now. As with most New Zealand birds, they evolved with no predators on the land, only aerial and marine predators. They're not too worried about people sniffing around them. They don't like it. They will sort of give you a nip, and if they're successful, they can make you bleed quite badly. So our dog rangers do.
The next day was actually the day I had to go give my 10-minute talk about the turtle skull. So I headed off to the University of Otago, and here I am on the program. I couldn't record any video while I was doing the talk, but I'll redo the talk and put it on my Patreon channel soon. I was talking about this turtle skull I found a year and a half ago with Cayman while we were on the beach. I talked about the methods I used to prep it and how long it took, and also how I'm now trying to figure out what is this turtle closest to. Is it closest to a living Caretta turtle, the loggerhead turtle, or is it closer to one of the extinct species?
I'm down here at one of my favorite beaches. I'm driving back to Christchurch from Dunedin. It's about a 6-hour drive. So I always stop over here, and the tides are perfect. It's low tide, getting even lower. In Dunedin, I gave a talk at the GSNZ conference, which was super scary, but I'm glad I did it. It was in front of a room full of paleontologists about that turtle skull I found about 2 years ago with Cayman. I'll redo the presentation that I did. There was no filming or anything there, but yeah, it was definitely one of those moments where I wondered, why did I sign up for it? This darker rock at the bottom here, there's this Eocene, roughly like 56 million years old, and this is close to where I found that billfish. I'm hoping today we can find another piece of billfish, and really what I want is the bill of a billfish, because that's really diagnostic and will tell us kind of whereabouts in the family tree of billfish it will fit in. Yeah, still got a bit of a ways to go, so I'll let you know if I find anything in the meantime. It almost looks like a piece of plant material or wood. You can see the sulfur, I think it's sulfur, that yellow stuff around it. It's a really big shark egg. Some big calcite veins over there in the rock. It's probably part of what used to be a septarian concretion. What makes this beach a little bit tricky to look on, you'll see the huge amount of rocks down here. Most of these are not concretions or not fossil-bearing rock at all. They're metamorphic, maybe igneous. Looks like mostly metamorphic rocks, where you don't normally find fossils or great fossils. They're all squished, and they're coming up from this layer on top of the fossil-bearing layer at the bottom. The fossils are in this darker grey layer here, and just look at all the river stones on top. So at some point, it's either river or beach stones, I'm not sure, but at some point this layer has been scoured away by waves or a river or flooding or something, and all this huge layer of river rocks have been deposited up top there, and that's not where the fossils are. So you might think, oh, there's, you know, huge amount of rocks over here, going to be lots of fossils. It's actually very few of these rocks that are the right kind of rocks. Let's see if I find one now. I'll show you the difference here at the cliff. So this softer stuff over here, this is where the fossils are in. It's almost like a green sand. As Catherine Reed pointed out, it's a lot of glauconite in there. And then you've got these kind of conglomerate-y rocks. There's so many little iron pyrite nodules in this cliff over here. Fool's gold. Fool's gold's another name for them. Okay, here's a bit of a weird one. Like, looking at this, I don't see any bone structure. And so I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. But yeah, this place is known for turtles, really old, 50 million year old turtles. And look, I've only found a turtle skull, so I don't know what the scutes look like and the rest of the bones, but there's a weird shape to this little thing over here. It's very uniform. It's got a lip over there. Like, if you use your imagination, it could almost be part of a turtle shell. But turtle shells normally have some really nice edges, and you should be able to see the bone, unless it's been tumbled around so much that you can't see it. So I'm going to take it back as a big maybe. and we can take a proper look at home and see what it is. But yeah, it's just a really weird shape, and I know normally weird shapes, there's lots of weird shapes around, but on the off chance this is something like a turtle, part of is it a plastron or scoot? I'm not sure. Part of the shell. So let's take it back. Well, it's been about an hour. I haven't found any fossil bone yet. 2 maybes, which I'll take back and we can have a look later. But I did find 2 agates, well, what I suspect are agates. I'll show you down here. I suspect those are agates. So a chalcedony of some sort. What I normally do, just as a quick test, is see if the light starts shining through from my cell phone torch. You can see it does in this one, and not so much on this one, but it's got that look to it. I'll take it back. We can cut it open and see what's going on inside. Yeah, let's find some bone. Yeah, I see my first bit of bone over here. Yeah, that's definitely bone. I'm not sure what it is or what it's from. I'm gonna guess it's bullfish or turtle because those are the only 2 things I'm finding here. Pretty cool. That's a bit of cone in cone calcite. It's not a fossil, it's a geological thingy formation, but pretty cool.
Cone in cone calcite is quite a weird formation. I had a look at some of the theories about how it forms, and there are a number of them and all very complex. There's quite a few papers written on a few theories, but it's something about when aragonite forms and they form in these little cups. If someone has a simple explanation, please leave a comment about that. That was my last fossil hunt of the trip, but I did stop at a few other places like the Meraki boulders. Had a look at these big Septarian concretions. They're Cretaceous in age, so dinosaur age, and some of them might have bones inside, but most of the ones I saw that were broken had nothing inside, and it's a reserve, so you're not allowed to break any of them or take any pieces home. Some beautiful beaches on the way back, and where possible I try to take, the dirt roads, not the main state highway road, just to see if there's any interesting little spots around. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone, for this hunt. I know it was all over the show. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing a bit of New Zealand scenery. Stay safe and I'll see you on the next hunt.